Hello, everyone. I'm so happy you're here with me today. We are going to practice English in an easy, fun, and effective way. Today, we'll use the shadowing technique. If you haven't heard of it, here's how it works. First, listen to me read a sentence. Then, repeat it after me. Try to copy my tone, speed, and pronunciation, just like a shadow following the original sound. This method is simple, but very powerful. It will help you speak English more naturally and confidently. The story we will read today is called The Gift I Never Expected. It's about a thoughtful young woman, a memorable journey, and an unexpected moment of love. Before we start, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and turn on the notifications so you won't miss new story lessons. All right, let's begin. My name is Emily. I'm 25 years old, and I live in a small apartment in the city. It's not big, but it's bright, with two windows that let the morning light in. I keep plants on the windowsill and postcards on the fridge. Sometimes I draw small sketches and tape them to the wall. It makes my place feel warm and alive. I work as a designer in a small company downtown. We create websites and simple designs for local businesses. Most days, my life feels quiet and predictable. I take the same bus, drink the same coffee, and sit at the same desk. But I don't really mind. I love colors, shapes, and finding beauty in small things. That morning was cold and gray. I woke up early, made myself a cup of tea, and sat by the window. It looked like it might rain. I checked my phone. Nothing special. Just work messages and a few ads. I took a deep breath and got ready for another day. At work, my desk was a little messy. Pencils, sticky notes, and color samples everywhere. I was finishing a website for a bakery that wanted a cheerful and soft design. Pink buttons, beige backgrounds, smiling cupcakes. My boss said, "Good work, Emily," and I felt proud. Design is like telling a story, I thought, only with pictures. By the end of the day, my eyes were tired. I packed my bag, turned off my computer, and said goodbye to my coworkers. They smiled, chatting about dinner plans. I smiled too, though I was thinking mostly about my bed and a quiet evening. When I stepped outside, the air was cool and smelled like rain. City lights were bright on the wet road, and people hurried home with umbrellas. When I reached my building, I stopped by the mailbox. I was waiting for my favorite design magazine. It usually came every 2 weeks. I opened the small metal door and smiled. The magazine was there, shiny and colorful, but behind it I saw something else. A white envelope, no stamp, no sender's name, just my name, written carefully, like someone had taken their time. My smile faded a little. It wasn't a bill or advertisement. Who could have left it? I looked around the hallway, but no one was there. It was quiet, except for the sound of the elevator. I carried the envelope upstairs and sat down at my kitchen table. For a moment, I just looked at it. Then, slowly, I opened it. Inside was a small piece of paper with neat handwriting. It said, "I've admired you for a long time. I'd like to meet you. Tomorrow, 7 p.m., at Cafe Linden. Please come." That was all. No name, no clue. I stared at the letter, trying to understand. Admired me? Who? No one ever wrote me things like that. Was it a joke, a mistake, or something real? The whole evening, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I read the letter again and again. My heart beat fast every time I looked at it. I made dinner, tried to watch a movie, but my mind kept going back to that envelope. Part of me was scared. What if it was someone strange? What if it wasn't safe? But another part of me felt curious and even excited. When was the last time something mysterious happened to me? I had to know. The next morning, I got ready for work, but I was distracted all day. Every time someone smiled at me in the office, I wondered, could it be them? At lunch, my friend Claire noticed. "Emily, what's going on?" "You look nervous," she said. I laughed and told her about the letter. Her eyes widened. "Wow, that's either really sweet or really weird. Be careful." "I know," I said. "I'm still not sure if I'll go." But that evening, I stood in front of my closet, thinking, if I did go, what would I wear? I chose my favorite light blue dress, simple, soft, and a little old-fashioned. I brushed my hair and looked in the mirror. I didn't look mysterious or romantic, just like me. But I smiled anyway. When I left the apartment, my heart was racing. The cafe wasn't far, just a few streets away. The air smelled like fresh rain and coffee from the nearby bakery. I walked slowly, my mind full of questions. Who would be there? Would I recognize him? Should I have brought someone with me? When I entered Cafe Linden, the warm air and smell of roasted beans surrounded me. Soft music played in the background. People were talking quietly, holding cups of cappuccino. I looked around carefully. Then I saw him. A man near the window. He stood up when he saw me, smiling shyly. "Hi, Emily," he said softly. "I hope I didn't scare you." I blinked, surprised. He looked familiar, kind eyes, dark hair. Then I realized I had seen him before. He lived in the building next to mine. We had passed each other in the morning sometimes. "Hi, my name is Daniel," he said. "I didn't know how else to talk to you. I see you every morning, going to work with your sketchbook. You always look so focused. I didn't want to bother you, so I wrote the letter." For a moment, I didn't know what to say. I felt embarrassed and relieved. Not a stranger, not dangerous. Just Daniel, the quiet guy from next door. We sat down. At first, we were both a little shy. He told me he worked as a photographer for a small magazine. He said he'd noticed my designs on my balcony wall, the ones I taped near the window. He liked them. He said they made his mornings brighter. We talked for hours about art, music, food, and travel. He told me about his cat, Luna, who loved to sleep on his keyboard. I told him about the bakery project at work. The more we talked, the easier it became. It felt natural, like we had known each other for years. When I finally got home that night, I felt light, almost glowing. I placed the letter back into its envelope and kept it in my drawer. It was no longer strange or scary. It was something sweet, something real. Over the next weeks, Daniel and I met often. Sometimes for coffee, sometimes for walks. Once, we went to the art gallery downtown. We laughed when we both stopped at the same painting. A simple picture of a window with flowers. "It looks like yours," he said. "Maybe it's a sign," I joked. Little by little, my quiet days changed. The mornings didn't feel so gray anymore. I started leaving home a bit earlier, just to meet Daniel on the street. He'd smile and say, "Good morning, neighbor," and I'd smile back. One Sunday, he invited me to his place to see his photos. His apartment was cozy, full of plants and soft light. On the wall, there were pictures of streets, people, and me. I gasped. "You took these?" I asked. He nodded. "I'm sorry if it's strange. You always looked so peaceful, sitting by your window, drawing. I just wanted to capture that moment. For a second, I didn't know what to say. But then I smiled. "They're beautiful," I whispered. That evening, we sat by his window drinking tea. The sun went down, painting the sky in pink and gold. Daniel looked at me and said, "I'm glad you opened that letter." I laughed softly. "Me too," I said. Sometimes, life surprises you when you least expect it. A simple letter in a mailbox can change everything. It can turn a quiet routine into something bright and new. Now, every time I check my mailbox, I still remember that day. And sometimes, when I design a new website or draw a new picture, I think about Daniel and smile, because the best stories often start not with a plan, but with a single secret letter. Great work! You finished the story! Now, I recommend listening to it again and repeating each sentence out loud. This will help you improve your speaking, listening, and pronunciation skills. If you enjoyed this lesson, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for practicing English with me today. See you next time.